In a reflection of the last 10 years, it is apparent that 2G to 3G was remarkable. 3G to 4G, some say, was groundbreaking. And here we are with 5G. Even though we like the high speed, we constantly debate strategies, monetization strategies, and a whole lot more. Hello, everyone, and welcome to TechBanterz, where we have simplified conversations around tech subjects. The topic under discussion today is speed, latency, and beyond, exploring 5G. And for an exciting discourse, I'm joined by Taiye Okunlola, Cyrille Babatounde, and Bukasa, all with a wealth of knowledge and great perspectives to share. Welcome, gentlemen. Very pleased to have you. So to the first question, I'd like to ask you, tell us a bit about how organizations leverage modern infrastructure without impacting network performance. Cyrille, Would you like to go with that? Yeah.
Yes, Hakim, it's a pleasure to be here. And thank you for having us on this call. I think basically when you want to transition from a technology to a new one, there is the proper migration plan that is put in place. So you will not you will allow all the things to run well. In 5G as well, it is the case, and where you can launch your 5G in what we call a standalone, which is pure 5G network, or non-standalone, which is a mode where you use the 4G core actually to serve your customer the 5G network on radio side only.
Thanks, Cyrille. Would anybody else like to add to that? How do you see?
Yes, 5G is a new technology. However, as Cyrille mentioned, we have gone, if you just look at the history, we went from 2 to 3, 4, and now 5. So we have as all the network, all the MNOs experience from transition from old technology to the new one. So basically, in migration, the path how you go there is already in place. So we are not creating the wheel again. We have done it going from 2 to 3. We went from 3 to 4. So this is just another technology in place. We just follow that one. So I think the experience is already there. Of course, you tweak it to manage with all these changes that come with 5G. But since we are doing currently just NSA, I think the migration, the transition, I think is more smoothly, since you still have your 4G core network and you are only touching the radio side.
So, and therefore the expertise and the experience that you have allows for network performance to remain stable, even when this new technology is being deployed. Yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
A lot of people have also argued that even though 5G comes bearing these good gifts, it's difficult to monetize the benefit. It's difficult to assess the benefits. How do we assess the benefits of a new technology like this?
Okay. First of all, I think we need. Let me recall quickly those premises. I mean, that 5G is coming with. There are three categories of use cases that 5G is bringing, which is enhanced mobile broadband, where the promise is to have more throughput. The massive type communication is massive machine-to-machine type communication, so where the robots, connected vehicles will be actually sending reliable and low latency communication. And at the end, you have also the URLC, which is ultra low latency communication. So there are those three categories are use case categories that 5G is bringing. But when you deploy your 5G in NSA mode, you are not ready actually to, benefit all those use cases that is in the white book of 5G. What you can benefit when you deploy your 5G in NSA is only enhance the mobile broadband, where you enhance or improve the end user throughput. It's only that you can really apply.
Is it that it's only that you can really monetize or see the benefits of, or are you speaking of immediately? Maybe in the long term, it will be easier to see more benefits. Yeah.
Yes, in long term, especially when you will launch 5G on standalone mode, you will be able to see the benefits, and you will be able also to market those new use cases like ultra low latency and reliable communication, like machine-to-machine communication, where all those use cases will be deployed in what we call slice. There is a network slicing where there is a virtual network for each kind of usage that we will be having at the end of the network.
Correct. So, there's so many ways to monetize that. That are in the works.
But today you will just put, as my colleague was mentioning, you will just boost the user experience on throughput aspects only.
I just wanted to add something, just to back up what Cyrille is saying, because from what he's saying, what I would say, what I see is that the benefit you get from 5G has a direct correlation with how advanced the market is. So I know in the developing countries like Africa, some countries where, the technology itself is still not as technology adoption is still not yet matured. The use case, the need to actually deploy this kind of technology might not be seen like immediately. But in other advanced markets like America, where we already have self-driving cars, and people are moving into way more advanced use of technology. Then in those kind of markets, and that's why you see also in terms of the 5G being deployed is the standalone one where they are able to also unlock all those benefits. So benefits-wise, we probably would have to look at it in terms of the market we're looking at. We are all from, I'm from a full African market where his explanation just brought to light why we are still, because the benefit we are looking right now from back home was just speed, delivering better speed to customer, and I think that's why the NSA, the non-standalone one, kind of made sense, for most MNEs. Why would you want to deploy something that might not really find a lot of use, especially in terms of the Internet of Things, and all the other use cases.
Yeah, and then there's so much more, which we will discuss later, that the industry generally is looking at. Thank you. That's really good contribution. Thanks. Okay, so from a consumer perspective, I really like to ask, many times I ask, particularly in other regions outside Europe and North America, did your customers really see a difference when 5G non-standalone was launched? Or is it still a thing of perception to the customer? Have they really felt a difference? Is there a clear need for 5G in your different regions? Taiye, I'd like to start with you, and then to Bukasa, and then to Cyrille. Yeah.
Okay. So before I even touch on the launch of 5G, I know Tutu had, spoken earlier on about how we've matured from 2G into 3G and all that. And I remember at the first time when we even launched 5G back then, that was like the first time I actually experienced the biggest jump in data speed. So I'm talking from a consumer, a user perspective. 3G brought in like, it made you see how fast data could be. We were okay with doing 2G, until we saw 3G and felt, oh, wow, now I can watch YouTube. It doesn't buffer. I can go online. And I think that was when we started developing the appetite for fast speed. We were okay with 2G until 3G came in. Now, from 2G, we went to 4G LTE, and that was also like an improvement over the 3G. Now, with the launch of 5G NSA at this point, and also looking at what everybody has spoken about, I didn't quite see that huge jump, because there was quite a lot of promise that sounded more theoretical than what I was seeing practically, and for me, it was quite a little bit disappointing to see that the 5G that, was launched was more of just a 4G plus or LTE plus. I don't know. Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah.
Plus. And I stopped short at using the word disappointing, because I saw that from your expression, you really were disappointed and you expected much more from 5G just yet. Maybe when you get to the standalone point, you might have a different story to tell.
Definitely.
Until then. So Bukasa, on your side, tell me, how
No, but I think what Taiye says is true, because from my point of view, I see 5G NSA as a transition from 2G to 3G, because there was not a really big difference. You really noticed the difference when we went from 3G to 4G.
4G.
That's where there was a really difference. You could stream up a game taking place in Japan, and you could see it on your phone. That's where the difference was. And in the current transition from 4G to 5G, there is no really difference. I can tell. We have 5G now. I don't see any difference. From the private user, it's the same.
Yep.
And then it depends on the handset you're using. I had to change the handset because I have an old one that was only 4G. I say, okay, I need to buy a 5G to see if there is any difference. Yeah, but yes. I bought a 5G handset. There's not really difference compared to what I was experiencing 5G and 4G. So basically, as a user, private user, there is not really big change when you go from 4G to 5G NSA. And I believe we'll see the experience more when everything becomes standalone. And I think that will be a kind of transition. We went from 3G to LTE. That's when we will experience. But this is just a transition. I can tell. We have 5G now. I don't see any difference. From the private user, it's the same.
Yep.
And then it depends on the handset you're using. I had to change the handset because I have an old one that was only 4G. I say, okay, I need to buy a 5G to see if there is any difference. Yeah, but yes. I bought a 5G handset. There's not really difference compared to what I was experiencing 5G and 4G. So basically, as a user, private user, there is not really big change when you go from 4G to 5G NSA. And I believe we will see the experience more when everything becomes standalone.
Which is just a start of a new journey, bringing a lot of use case, a lot of promise that will not be realized now. Probably they will be realized when we will move the network to standalone mode, or we will be at the beginning of the next generation that is coming, 6G. And at 6G, we will actually realize all the benefits that was promised in 4G release. I think this is my opinion, and I think this is what we have observed and
Thank you. Thanks,
what
sir.
I want to add.
Did I hear you mention something about 6G? Because I know that some parts of the world are already talking about 6G. However, my next question would be what you think about LTE and voice over LTE and how or not it should run in parallel with 5G.
So if I look at LTE in itself, voice over LTE, it's I think in terms of call quality and all that, it's something that I think every operator is moving into. Right now, circuit switch call itself, in terms of when I look at the cost of transporting those calls, terminating calls in between networks, and all that. And with the advancement of data also and huge adoption on data, the voice over LTE in itself is going to help MNOs, compete a lot, especially with, quite a lot of data now and calls going on the OTT apps. So there's just going to be like a convergence. That's what I see. But again, in terms of technology adoption, whether 4G, voice over LTE, or 5G, I think they're all going to run in parallel. Because with the way we've seen things going now, operators are largely moving away from 2G, 3G. We're seeing a lot of operators sunsetting those technologies, refarming those networks into, we're in the age of data. So voice call in the long term, I know would eventually move on the data network, and it's just going to help with all these things, but also prepare us for the real 5G that we are hoping to see in the future. So in parallel, I think over time, we might have, with the minimum technology might start from 4G, then build up into 6G and all this that we're talking about. So 2G and 3G, maybe in another 10 years, or maybe when we have our grandkids who feel like, they wouldn't even believe that we ever
something
had
like
one.
that existed at the time. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Bukasa. What are your thoughts?
No, but I think there is no conflict basically, and if VoLTE is coming, is one of the reasons, as the Taiye touched upon, is because we are going to switch off the sequence switch, which is your funding 2 and 3G. So since we have the thing is IP based, which is only data, so that the voice itself became data. So it's going to run on the same network because we're going to have a completely data network. What we have in 2G and 3G, because in 4G, when you make a call, it goes down until 3G. So, but when we go now to completely data network, so everything is data, so then VoLTE is going to be there. I think there's no conflict. Basically, it's just that the whole network become IP-based, database. So
it's all
voice
data.
itself become.
It's all data.
Yeah.
So, Cyrille, what are your thoughts? And in sharing your thoughts, I would like for you to also speak to the cost of deployment as well. Because I think the reason why a lot of people have said, we are not even done. We haven't exhausted our investment in 4G. Why are we going to 5G non-standalone, before the SA, right? So share your own thoughts. Do you think that they continue in parallel? is there a huge cost of investment that should be considered before that kind of, decision is made across a business?
Exactly. I think all those, how we transition from one generation to another, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and investment. I will not call it frustration, but it's a way that people are not, comfortable with. And there are many voices in the industry that is today that they are comparing what is happening in the world of, software and IT, pure IT web domain, and what is happening with telecom. You develop a software today. Next week, you can put an add-on, you can put a patch, you can put new feature that you develop in incremental mode. So people are voicing and saying, let us bring this paradigm in telecom as well, where we will not be moving from one step. The step will not be big. So we will move from one generation to another generation. It will take 10 years. Let us start doing small transformation. Exactly. Small transformation where we bring today HD voice. Tomorrow we bring, something massive MIMO, etc., etc. Let us start introducing feature little by little in telecom world, so we will not feel the weight of investment and the effort to transform the network from one generation to another. There are voices that are supporting this way already in the industry. And I think it is justified by the fact that to move from one generation, when you send everything from radio to core in your network, and you will take 10 years and you will not finish, you will not exhaust all, you will not sweat all the
investment.
The asset that, the investment and the asset that you put on ground, and another generation will come, and the way to transform the effort and the amount of money it requires to transform will be huge. So it is already there on the table, and I think I support this way actually to transform on agile mode and introduce feature little by little as is done in IT web area.
But in telecom, it doesn't necessarily fall in the same pattern, So we would have to pick and choose, and carefully so. If they're really huge investments, you can't just deploy a technology just because it's a fad or because you think you can add or plug different services into it. There has to be real requirements and real needs, for that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. But I think it's something that can, it is a discussion, it's on the table, and at some point both view will meet, and we can be reconciliated. Yeah.
We will. We will. Okay.
Comment when it's come to
Bukasa.
I think we have to look at it in terms of region as well. So if we look at it, particularly the African market, basically I'll say there is no need of 5G now. If you say that, I have 5G or things like that, it's just a marketing thing. But because really the need of the market is not yet there, in my overall opinion, because when you look at the African market, voice is still something that MNOs are getting money from there. SMS as well. So, and now data is picking up, because when you look at this bucket, voice, SMS, and data is growing up, but voice is still there, which is completely different from the developed market. When you look at the European market, voice is zero. Nobody even look at it because it's like for free. You buy it, now you have a kind of subscriptions. They give you 5,000 a minute. Who call for 5,000 a minute, basically, today? And the young people, they don't even talk. They use all these communication things. So that is also we have to take in consideration when you look to the African market. In that perspective, look, there's some countries, they have just launched 4G a year ago. And you're talking to them about 5G? No, they have to try to get the investment back on the 4G because of try to think about 5G. You have Central Africa. Here, there is no 4G. And you will come to talk to those operators about 5G? No, and I think this is something that operators, especially on the African market, have to look at it. Do we really need it? And especially for 5G NSA, which is just a transition. Maybe they should wait and see, okay, when everything will be standalone, maybe on that one. But for the moment, in my humble opinion, African market, in the big part of it, there is no need of 5G. Yeah. Not yet.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your opinion. And in speaking to that...
sorry, I'm not totally agree here. I said a principle.
No,
I said a principle. Basically I said a principle with you. But when you look at the business case numbers, most of part of Africa, you will not even deploy 4G. But the thing is, sometimes you need to introduce those technology on the market now to draw up appetite of those markets, and to show them new use cases as well. And for me, this needs to be taken into account as well. It could be an investment for the future or an investment as well to develop those new usage. Because if you limit yourself to business case only, I think there are areas where you will not even put the 4G antenna.
I mean, that's a way to look at it, to be forward thinking. But I think what Bukasa and Taiye are saying is, do you not think that it's too much to put down for a market that isn't completely ready for it? And really, you could look at it in different ways. Well, if you have the resources to put down, it's an investment and you're going to want a turnover, right? If you're able to get a turnover, then maybe. If you're not, should you? I think that's just the question. But I understand because, the markets are different and the thoughts will also be different. Yeah. But again, and speaking to what something Bukasa had mentioned, about 5G and the other verticals for monetization, in Europe and some other parts of the world, Asia, North America, other parts of the world, where we're looking at smart cities, manufacturing, gaming, healthcare, and all the other things that you could use 5G for. Which of these provides a significant uptick? For those of you in Europe, from what you're hearing and what you're seeing, what regions, even if it's not in Europe, what other regions do you see having a significant uptick in the use cases and the usage of 5G for, creating smart cities, using for healthcare, in manufacturing? Because these are the use cases that are most talked about. Do you have any opinions?
Yes, okay. The market that I know, French market, I think we see a lot of uptake in industry 3.0 area where we deploy 5G to run the manufacturing plant, and but in private mode, not in public. They are not using the public network. So you go, they launch RFP, and when you win, you go and you deploy private 5G in the manufacturing plant for them to run the industry, to run the robots, all those equipment are connected private 5G.
Bukasa, you're going to share, yeah? Which of these industries do you see having a significant uptake, in terms of usage of 5G?
Again, I have to maybe repeat myself. In BC, there is not so much really, basically. There is the case that Cyrille touched upon when it comes to manufacturing. And this is what we have seen mostly here. And I think there's a case where I think one of competitor, they deploy a kind of private network with one of the mining company here, just for them. This is a case we have seen basically here. It's mostly mostly manufacturing. And then we have seen some cases of autonomous cars where they're still testing. This is what we still have at the moment. The things we see on NSA mode, I don't think that we see a lot of user cases. And I think mostly the things is when we move to the SA mode, that's where most of the practical cases will be there.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I just want to add that, here as well, marketing people, it is a headache for them.
When you say product, you mean in France?
In France, yeah, to craft, product around 5G, even in SA mode, it's a real headache for them. Yeah.
Nice. From time to time, maybe we should share this information amongst each other, just so we see how things are moving and, how quickly they're moving. Okay, so my next question will be on return on investments. In a KPMG report, some years ago, I think in 2019, thereabout, they had said that the GSMA had forecasted that 5G would bring like $2.2 trillion by 2034. Thoughts on how MNOs and organizations will monetize 5G with or without standalone?
Yes, I can start. I think this is the challenge that we have in the telecom. The problem, what I've seen is that we went from 1 to 2 to 3 and now to 4 and 5. But the way we have been charging the customer has been the same. We start with voice, we look at the minute. How long was the call? This, and 1 minute, 60 crowns, and then we continue. We went to start with data. We really know how to do that. We came up with a model which is based on voice as well. You use so many megabytes. We charge you this. And then we came to the 4G, and people started using data as crazy. And we still didn't know how to do it. And then we started doing something like unlimited. You just pay subscription this and use the network. This is where. And that's the problem. I think we need really a kind of new way of thinking to change completely how we are going to charge our customer. As long as we continue to charge 5G or 6G the way we charge 1G, then we are in trouble. This is why some people are saying that telecom, or we just become just a dumb pipe, because the one are using, we're getting more money. Your big today is the Netflix, the Googles, and the others. And they don't invest zero money in the infrastructure, zero. And we are the one carrying the cost. So I think we need to change the way we charge our customer. It has to be a new radical way of charging. I've seen, maybe now we are talking about the slice, as Cyrille mentioned before. So maybe we're going to slice our network, put in one slice the smartphone. Me and you using the phone, we'll be in this slice, and then the price will be like this. And then to the other slice, we have, this kind of autonomous stuff. There's in this slice. Then we charge them this way. And, in other slice, we charge another way. This is going to be, we can monetize the investment we have. But if we continue charging the way we have been doing, then I think we have a problem for the future.
Okay, thanks, Bukasa. But I think that someone like Taiye will disagree with you. Because
Taiye.
No, so
thinking about his customer, the end user, and now that they have put so much on the table, right? And we've said, look, customers can have all you can eat and all those kinds of propositions that have been shared across. How then, does it play out for someone like you, Taiye? Yes, please share your...
I think funny enough, I kind of align with his direction. So I know with the launch of 5G, what we had looked at, back home then in Nigeria was just the model for pricing was just to give 5G access to everybody. First, there was issue around access. How many people have these 5G devices? There are not so many that have their 5G access. So you're expecting that it's like the high net worth or high value customers that would ideally have it. And also in Africa, I know it's majorly, most of the markets are low ARPU. So by the time you start segmenting and saying, okay, because you want to get ROI out of a particular segment of users, you probably would eventually lose out. Then from a marketing perspective, with 5G launch, you don't want to start telling customers that, it's this X category of customers that can use it and Y can't use it. So it's also more of, making sure that in terms of the competitive advantage, you have 5G access to everybody. So it's not restricted and all that. But in my current market where I am in Canada, what I've seen is 5G is being priced in, I would say, the right way. They are bundling 5G on the high output plans. So there are specific plans where you are on where you can access 5G. And those plans, at least your monthly bills would also show that you are actually on the plan. So there are some brands here that actually run the data, it's just maximum 4G. If you move to some other brands, some premium brands, then that's where you have 5G. And what they're also doing is to bundle that 5G with other products. So you're on 5G, you can have 5G home internet bundled with your mobile. So they are setting the templates for the right pricing, which Tutu has also mentioned. So and for me, it's just a peculiarity of the market, because if I take this strategy back home, you probably look like you're shooting yourself in the foot, because this other guy gives me this thing without restriction. Why are you asking me to pay premium to use this service? For me, data is data. It costs me so much first to buy the mobile device. First, you are actually supposed to have been delivering this data speed as long as 10, 5, 15 years ago. So now that you're able to give me this service, why would you want to make me pay premium for it? So I think it's a this thing around ROI and all that. It will be dependent on the kind of market that you are in, the kind of subscribers that you are looking at. But again, that being said, for the networks in Africa, developing countries to actually they also need to look at a way to set the right template, because as much as it looks like this is like an easy way to go and open access to everybody, over time when you want to start moving into the standalone kind of 5G where you need huge investment on the cost side, and all that, then these questions you might not need to answer them today, because now we're just doing it on the radio side. Once you want to do those huge investments, you probably will need to start setting the right template.
Differently.
Yes.
Start looking at it differently. Just before
I agree with what you said. Maybe I was not clear on my way of explaining the thing. Yes, the 5G is accessible to everybody. It has been launched in all of Scandinavia. Everybody has access to it. We didn't limit people. No, we have access. But what I'm saying is the way we charge is the same. Now is this plan where you have unlimited, or you have this of you buy for monthly subscription where you have only 2 gigabyte, 10 gigabyte. When it finishes, you can buy more extra. This is what I'm saying. But this way of charging, that's where my problem is. For me, the way I look at it is not compatible with this technology we have. We should change the way we charge for data. Because as I said, I explained, the charging model is based on what we did before. We went from 1 to 3, we charge the same. We went from 2 to 3, we charge the same. We went from 3 to 4, and then people are using so much data, we didn't know to charge. We come with this one. Okay, now you can buy 10 GB, 4 GB, and then you just pay this. You see? And then we have another category where we say unlimited. Pay this much of money, use the data the way you want. That's where I see the problem. Because
I think that's what
I think we are actually going in the same direction.
Yes, I think you're going the same direction. While you are saying that this is normal, this is practice currently. However, this has to change.
Yes.
He's sharing that in the region that he is, it has changed already. However, he's also aware that in Africa, it hasn't completely, it's still what you were referring to. So he's sharing that there are different ways that are being 5G and data
monetization,
in the region that he is. He's in Canada right now. But Cyrille,
let me again to understand how did you monetize 5G in Canada? Just want to understand what was you doing for 4G.
So again, it depends on. First is that we have some networks here that offer premium plans, and by premium I mean you can get up to 5G speeds, and also everybody offers unlimited. Well, you can also get unlimited data. There are other networks where the maximum data speed you can get is just on LTE, that's on 4G. And at times also, even though they tell you it's unlimited, once you hit your data threshold, then you might start getting charged data overages. So, but that is still postpaid. Then within some of those bundles, so they have the one that's prepaid where you just top up on a monthly basis. Again, you can have access to either 4G or either 5G. But aside that, in terms of access, because I've only mentioned in terms of the access, what the customer is able to access, the network layer, whether 4G or 5G. Now, also in terms of the pricing, if you're on the 5G plan, the average price you pay is slightly higher than if you're on a 4G plan. And on those 5G plan also, they are actually bundling other things that they feel the customer needs. So you're on the 5G plan, some plans will give you access to roam your data in other, maybe in some other North American countries where you can already have, so all those sweeteners, you're on a 5G plan, they can allow you share your data with 1 or 2 more family member on your account. So it's like an extra stuff that actually makes you want to go on 5G, even though the customer doesn't know that is what they are trying to upsell you to go into. You're on a 5G plan, they allow you to bundle your mobile internet with the home internet, where you also get discounts on the mobile side and the home side. So it's quite a whole lot of, it's quite different from what we have, where, it's, back home, it's a majority just prepaid market where, just buy the gigabytes and use. And if you have 5G, if you have access to the 5G network, you use it. So for me, in terms of creativity and all that, these guys are setting the template where over time, when you start bringing things around the smart home, electric vehicle, all those kind of things, you just realize that the customer finds that they have to stay on the 5G to
the premium of some
sort. Yes. So, and also I said the template here is something that I kind of, it's something that I like. Yeah, it's something that will work long term.
Long term. Thanks. Cyrille, sorry we kept you so long. Do you have
No, it's okay. So, yeah. My colleague was sharing interesting. I think the question is how to monetize 5G. I think is to leverage the technology capability as well in order to build a genuine premium service and charge those who is in need of those premium service, charge them accordingly. And 5G can allow you to design a really premium service for you to prioritize the service, fruitful service assets, and etc. So those premium service can be offered to those who really want it, and they will pay the price for it. I think this is the first thing. The second is, for me, is one of the use cases of 5G as well, which is fixed wireless access. It's like your internet that you have in your home, but on 5G spectrum. Those products can be designed and bundled with other service where you take your plan with Netflix or other video service together, and the operator actually can bundle those I would call it they call it fixed wireless access plan with video services as well.
Yeah.
And the last I can see monetizing. Yeah, when we will introduce, as my colleague was saying, network slicing. There are people that really want to keep their communication in a closed domain, in a closed network, like police or government agencies. Those guys, they have money. If you put all the guarantee that technically the service they really want will be isolated for the public domain and everything, they would also be able to put the price.
They'll be willing to pay for that. They'll be willing to pay for that. I mean, not just enterprises as well, small businesses, growing businesses. Some of them might be very interested in network slicing as well, depending on the size of the business. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So in conclusion, is to leverage what the technology is offering in order to draft and craft services that really serve the need of the customer, that willing to pay the price for the premium.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have a question for Taiye, but I'll put it now in the other part of the telecom roaming. So let's say these different plans you have. Your premium is the 5G people, and then you have I believe there is a plan for 4G people who buy still remaining 4G. Let's assume that I still have a 4G plan, and I go to a country whereby your network is, I don't know, whatever network you have, and I will go to France where the roaming agreement with France Telecom, and they have launched 5G. Can I, if I have a 5G handset, can I roam on the network on 5G, or you're going to throttle me to keep me to just remain on 4G?
So that's a very good question. And I would only share my experience based on what I have here. So I have I roam my line here, and my home network has 5G agreements with most of the networks here. At least I know that for sure. But again, since I have been here for several months, even though I have a 5G device, I have a 5G phone, and I roam my line, and I've never been on the 5G network yet. So I would
even when you have a roaming, even when you have a 5G,
even when I've launched the 5G,
launched 5G.
Yes, I've never seen the 5G signal on my handset. I've tried it across 1, 2, 3 networks. I've never seen. So I would assume that operators have a way where they prioritize these things, and just maybe for certain, maybe it's based on agreement, or I lead it.
How about coverage? Isn't it? Have you looked? Is there coverage in that?
There's 5G coverage. There's 5G coverage, yeah. Because of course I have people around me that have the same 5G. They're on the same network, and they can see 5G pop up on their phone. But at the least I see most time is the maximum I see is 4G. So I will assume that operators have a way to prioritize these things, because again, 5G is huge investment. Some customers are paying for it, and when you look at the average local subscriber, what they pay here in terms of mobile subscriptions, it's a joke to what we pay back home, when we feel, mobile plans is really expensive. You monthly, you pay your bills here, oh wow, it costs so much to have a line here, so again, you won't have that kind of benefit given to like higher ARPU customer, and now you're just opening it up. Again, you're looking at congestion, making sure, that even the promise you give to the customers that you are able to deliver it. Something I forgot to mention, that even in the 5G here, they have speed bands. Sometimes in the marketing communication, they tell you that the 5G speed is up to 1 gigabyte per second. So up to means, it's, if you're in a good coverage, you're in a good area, it's something that you can get. Also in that way, they're able to manage it. But when you're on a 4G plan, they also tell you that your speed is maybe up to 256 Mbps. So just to set the right expectation, so depending on depending on what kind of plan you have, they've already let you know what you will likely have. So I think it's a big question, and probably in the next session that we have, we might want to unravel this part that has to do with roaming, because I would like to also see if this is what the practice is in other markets, because I've only seen it based on my own experience. I'm roaming, I have a 5G SIM, a 5G coverage, and it's not a coincidence that you have 5G agreements with 3 or 4 networks, and you can't even get on 5G with anyone. So
there could be lots of reasons why that would happen.
Yes,
but like you said, we would look at those in another session. So I won't leave without asking a roaming question. You know that. So my question on roaming would be, have you noticed any behavioral changes with your roamers? Are they really going looking for 5G roaming like you? Like the ones with 5G devices? Are they asking questions like, I want to be on 5G and I cannot, or I want to be on 5G and this is how much I'm enjoying 5G. Why haven't you launched in so and so? If there aren't, have you noticed any change in customer behavior towards 5G roaming?
Okay, so ideally, I know for most customers, roaming, data is data. First, data is data. And my first roaming experience back then, I think around 2014, 2019, in US. I was literally roaming on a 3 or 4G network, and I didn't really tell the difference. In fact, I also bought a local SIM then, which gave me some gigs that wasn't so much, maybe 3 or 5 gigs, and I was able to use it entirely all through the period while I was roaming. So the question I will look at, is it about speed or about the experience? Because everything we're discussing right now is once the customer gets the right experience, the question around, give me 5G, give me 4G, usually it's not a big demand for the customer. What the customer wants is just give me fast data, fast and reliable data. So in terms of the demand, it's not something that has been big. It's not something that we've seen, also because of the penetration rate. Also, it's still a very small segment of the market. So it's not It's not something that's will be.
Not the question that you have got often. How about you, Bukasa? Cyrille, have you got, any questions around that? Have you noticed any changes in customer demands or behavior or requests?
No, not request, not demand. Because as Taiye says, what customer after is really reliable data. As long as it's working, no buffering, nothing. They don't care. It's 4, it's 5. They really don't care. I can be there on the beach enjoying some streaming on Netflix. That's okay. So the problem is, you say 4 and there is a problem, then they will complain.
Well, yeah.
But you can put them on 3, they can still stream. They won't complain. So I think that's where the experience we have not a lot of 5G, but there is no really request coming that, okay, I was in that country, I want 5G. No. As long as the service is okay, they can use their phone, they can stream and use then there's no complaint at all. So we haven't seen any difference at all. Of course, they're using more data than used before. We have more data usage. That's the difference we see. Not that there is a real request of particular technology that we want to be verifiable. So, no.
Okay. Cyrille, how are you? Same thing?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I think the experience is the paramount. But in Europe, it is the same area where your same plan, you can use it in all the European Union countries. I don't know if it is the same case in Canada. I know that in Africa, the roaming costs are very high, and that's still the case. Even though technology are evolving, the price is not going down. I don't see. Probably in another session we can discuss the correlation and a price by per megabyte in 3G and 4G and 5G. I think it is getting cheaper theoretically, so the roaming costs should follow as well. But I don't know what are the dynamic of the market is over there. So the price is still high in roaming.
Okay. On a final note, I'm going to just take it around the table, and I'll start with you, Bukasa. You just give me a yes or no. 5G, yes or no?
Depending on the market. Market, yes. Market in developing as our mother continent, Africa, no. For the moment, no.
Okay. Taiye, 5G, yes or no?
I would tilt more towards the yes, because again, technology advances in you build on technology. Even though it might feel like we really don't need it now, there's still, I think everybody's moving towards a convergence. And literally Africa, we've seen ourselves staying at the back of some huge technological advancements where, okay, if we stay too long on it, then it feels like, okay, we are not even able to integrate. Currently, we're having issues where, you're roaming in some countries. It feels like you can't even make calls because now these countries are already running on very advanced. So if we sit in isolation to say, okay, we don't need this thing, we are still a part of the global market, so eventually I see voice and data, huge convergence around voice and data, especially with VoLTE, LTE, 5G, 6G coming on, whether NSA, not standalone, all those stuff is the future where we are all moving to. It's okay that we are in Africa doing just voice right now, still doing a lot of SMS, and all that. But again, in the future, you don't want to go at the point where it feels like, yes, you are all left out. So
left behind.
The only thing is we might just look at what is relevant to our market right now, which is the non-standalone, giving our customer the right experience around the kind of data speed they need, and all that. Then we start evolving gradually into building a proper use case for what do the customers need. Because again, the technology deployment has to speak directly to what the users are requiring and what you feel the market is moving towards. So I think it's something that we have to look at. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think what you've said also speaks to something Bukasa had mentioned earlier, where he talked about network spacing out, shutting down 4G, 3G. We don't want to get to the point where we're the last on the list, right? I think that's what comes out from what you've said. All right, Cyrille, yes, no?
Yeah, from technical perspective, definitely yes, 5G, because all the things, but there are some conditions. If I can keep only in market where I can keep only 4G and 5G together, definitely I will go and intensify my rollout of 5G because it will offload my 4G. And also there are studies that show clearly that cost to produce MB on 5G is lower than cost to produce 1 MB of data on other technology. I mean, it is going lower when you move upwards in the technology. So for cost perspective as well, it will be interesting, but unfortunately in Africa, there is also device aspect to look at. So the device penetration is another aspect to look at. But if the device is there, a technical perspective, 4G and 5G are very good technology to keep and deploy massively to serve, the usage of today, which is voice and data, basically, for end users.
On that note, I'd like to thank you all very much for joining and for your constructive contributions. Thank you so much. We've all learned a lot from each other, and we hope that you'll join us sometime soon. I definitely will be calling you, pulling you in from time to time. It's interesting perspectives that we've had, and really somehow we find ourselves drawing ourselves back into the African market because you know that market well as the different the different locations where you are right now. So thank you so much for that.
Yep.
I appreciate your time and wish you the best of the weekend. Yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.